As we have heard also, the idea of biomethane is to be injected either to the distribution grid or to the transmission grid. I think that this is something that DESFA would also like to have. So I have a question, having the distribution grid and the cases in which we see that, for example, in the summertime, where you do not have any big consumption of the natural gas, of biomethane in this case, there is the discussion of injecting it back from the distribution grid to the transmission grid. So the question is, would that be followed with additional investments from DESFA side in such a case? Or how do you face it? Are you ready for that? Do you need some additional investments or not?
This is true. This is a good question. Let's say the grid where a new biomethane plant or existing one will be connected is subject to the distance that it has from the distribution networks or the high-pressure networks. If it is very close to the distribution network, certainly it will be connected there. So the important thing is to have the right cost-benefit analysis concerning the costs that you need in order this project to be implemented. For example, the topic that you mentioned with the congestion of small distribution networks is correct, okay? Because if it is summer and we don't have consumption by the local consumers, then the consumption from the biomethane plant is not easy to be injected in the system. In that case, we will need a compressor station in parallel with our MR station, in the point that we are delivering currently the quantities from high pressure pump to ENOUN to medium pressure, in order to send these quantities backwards, to have a reverse flow from the distribution network to the transmission network. This is not easy. We can do it. We need compressors, okay? Because we have to go from the 19 bar to 60 to 50, 60 bars, whatever is the pressure in this area. We can do it. The technology is there. It is not something difficult, but the cost should be discussed. Who will pay for this cost? Okay. For example, DESFA certainly can include this kind of projects in his 10 years development plan and develop all these compressors. On the other hand, when you are comparing two biomethane potential producers, you have to take into account all these costs, because you should include also the cost of the compressor to the power producer, to the biomethane producer, even if he's connected to the distribution network. You should do a very detailed cost-benefit analysis. This is important.
Yes, and something very small, you mentioned it, and I could keep it. Your networks, because now we are always hearing everywhere in technology, in gas turbines, etc., we are hearing the words hydrogen ready. You said that the readiness in your case could be even for 20% hydrogen, or you need to do some more investments in order to accept such a blending, such a high, because it is a high percentage blending, eh? Yeah. 20%.
Last year in the study that we have performed, let's say the result was that our system can go up to 10% without too high capex investments. Okay. The European, the hydrogen and gas package, let's say, defines a very small percentage of hydrogen, 2%. Certainly, we can go above that. Up to 5%, the capex is limited, because even the compressor stations, which is a very detailed equipment and need modifications in case of higher percentages of hydrogen, can work with 5% hydrogen without any need. But even with the 10% hydrogen, we believe that it is easy to be implemented.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mrs. Zaninotti, a second question. What are the challenges for the company when you want to blend either hydrogen or you want to inject biomethane? And what do you think that are the benefits for the Greek consumers in the long run in such scenarios that we are seeing maybe not very far from now, maybe tomorrow or the next year or in 2 years?
Okay. So first, one of the first challenges, for sure, is to continue to invest in innovation, because first, innovation and what we did until now and we are doing is the key enabler factor for hosting and accommodating renewable gases. Why? Because we can control and monitor the network in real time, and we can control the quality of the renewable gases. We can also balance the gas that will be injected for different sources. And so innovation should be, has to be an important part of our development program. Maybe we can discuss also about incentives. This is a really, really important part of our program. The main challenge, and I fully agree on what the chairman of Abio said before, is not only to define some technical rules that are still missing, for example, for biomethane as gas quality requirements, injection fees, or cost-sharing agreements between producers and distribution and transport company, but also to define as soon as possible the whole strategy. Which are the benefits? The benefit, for sure, it's clear, I think now, that there is no one solution for the decarbonization and for reaching the target that we have in 2030 and 2050. And so biomethane, hydrogen, but also the gas sector and the power sector has to collaborate. This is definitely clear. And to which, let me say, it is the target, the benefit for the consumer to enhance the energy security, for sure. Also to decrease the risk to be dependent on imported fossil fuel. And I think that we have to take the opportunity also to work for a stabilization of the energy price with benefit, a potential benefit for the client to have also an energy with a lower cost.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Katsis, a final question. Regarding biomethane, I understand that you have the properties of biomethane have to be quite strict in order to align with the quality of natural gas that you have in your grid. My question is the following: do you think that you could also accept even small quantities of biomethane, because we know that biomethane is produced mainly decentralized way. You don't have very big, or it depends what is big and small. So would you even go for lower cubic meters per hour in your grid, or would you put a limit or some prerequisites for the gas in terms of quantity?
No, I don't believe that there is a need to set a limit. The biogas plants that we have in Greece, for example, at least they are 1 megawatt of electric power. If you convert it to thermal power, is 2.2 megawatts. So that means 200 cubic meters of biomethane per hour. Okay, if you make it 2 megawatts, it is 400 and 500 cubic meters per hour. This is a good number. There are commercial units feasible financially that they produce 300 or 500. We have the experience of Italy. They have a lot of biomethane plants with a production of 300 cubic meters per hour. So we don't believe this is the obstacle. The important thing now is to finalize the legislative
legislation,
framework, which is not an easy. It is not an easy exercise because it involves also other ministries. Until now, DESFA, if we talk for ourselves, we used to go to the Ministry of Energy to take any permit or any license we wanted. Now we have to go to the Agriculture Ministry as well, because they are involved in these processes. So the permitting process is also something that should be proceed quickly in order to have, let's say, a good result concerning biomethane in Greece.
So I keep as a message that the legislation needs to go as fast as possible. We have discussed this also last year, where I was more involved in the legislation. But I hope that now the work is in the route of, let's say, going forward, and that till the end of the year we'll have something on that, and we can discuss next year about the new, let's say, plans of your companies to include these gases in your grid. I would like to thank you very much for this very nice discussion, and
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think now it's the lunch time, so everybody was waiting for it.
Thank you.